Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, in the house, and welcome to another edition of NFL Sunday Morning with me, Ryan Flowers, Clutch Sports Talk, in the house again, man. Hey, Week 18, final week of the season. We're gonna get a lot of answers today. We got some answers last night. We had the Raiders and Chiefs take. I guess they played a game, right? Chiefs destroyed them yesterday. I'll talk about that. Congratulations, Jacksonville Jaguars, man. They won the AFC South and are in the playoffs. And also good news coming out of the Damar Hamlin's camp, making some progress. So I'm glad to see that young man. Not sure, what's going to be his fate, but at least he's alive and he's contacting people. He's talking or at least communicating in some form or fashion. So that's always a plus. So, hey, we also have other things to talk about. We got the playoff picture, what it's going to look like. We're going to talk about that for sure. My final week of power rankings, and then predictions, and then finally the clutch picks of the week. I am above 500. I went 3-0. Obviously, the Bengals and Bills didn't play. Bengals were in my clutch picks of the week. They didn't play, no contest, so nothing happened. So I went 3-0 instead of possibly going 4-0, but still, nonetheless, it was a positive week for me. But other than that, man, hey, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday Morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Good morning again. Welcome into the show. It's the final week of the NFL season. Week 18, it was a long, arduous road, but we survived. We are getting closer and closer to the playoffs starting next week with the wild card weekend. We got lots to discuss, lots to get into, so we'll just get into it. Like I said before at the top of the show, Damar Hamlin, still pulling for him. He's doing all right. Football is probably the last thing on his mind. Well, I guess it wasn't, because when he woke up, he said, "Who won the game?" And the doctor said, "You did. You won the game of life." So that's just a true competitor right there. But I'm glad to see that he's communicating. I believe he FaceTimed some of his Buffalo Bills teammates. The support and admiration for this young man is just spilling out all over the National Football League, so which is good to see. Now, there are some, not negative people, but some people out there saying, "Oh, well, what's going to happen to him after?" And I understand that the NFL, they haven't had a best track record of taking care of their own as far as the retirees or guys that have played in the league who the league has spit up and chewed out, or chewed up and spit out. Hopefully this will not be the case for him. Hopefully the Buffalo Bills will step up and take care of him in the event that he does not play another down, because from my understanding, he is not fully vested. He's only a second-year player, and I believe you have to have 3 years in order to receive some type of certain compensation from the National Football League. But I think back to other cases like a Ryan Shazier, where the Pittsburgh Steelers took care of him and paid him out a certain amount of his contract. So, he's still able to earn a living per se, but we'll see what happens. So at this point, really, I'm more concerned about what his care is right now. And it seems like he's getting the very, very best care. If you want to know my thoughts, I did post a video out there on YouTube. Go ahead and check it out, man. I give you my thoughts on the whole situation and the future of football. If you do have kids, especially young sons that do play, or you're interested in playing, I kind of break it down from there. So make sure you guys check that out. All right. With that out the way, let's just start with the Jacksonville Jaguars, because I'm gonna leave the Raiders thing for the second topic. But congratulations. I did not have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division. This was a weird year in this division, because the Jags won. I mean, I had them pick last. I think I had the Texans over them, right? So the Texans are going to finish last, and the Jacksonville Jaguars finished first. Now, I'm not surprised. Hey, good morning, Ben. How you doing, man? He says, hopefully DeMar gets taken care of in some sort of way as far as finances go. Yeah, absolutely. But in regard to the Jacksonville Jaguars, what a turnaround. But I'm not surprised, because Doug Peterson is one of those, what you call a quote unquote quarterback whisperers. So he has worked well with pretty much every quarterback that he's had under his direction. You look at what he did with Carson Wentz, almost turning him into an MVP. Now you look at Carson Wentz. I don't know what the hell is going to happen to him. And then you also look at what he did with Nick Foles, getting them to the Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera. He didn't have a full chance to get Jalen Hurts going, but he kind of put him in a position, I would say, to maybe, to make him the guy he is today, per se, right? And then he goes down to Jacksonville. You get a young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. So this was a great hire by Jacksonville. Now, I don't think anyone suspected that they would win the division. I thought they would make progress. And this is a good benchmarker for them. They have considerable talent. You look at the offensive side of the ball, you have Trevor Lawrence, you got guys like Travis Etienne, Marvin Jones, who is a serviceable wide receiver in the National Football League, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. You got some power on that side of the ball, right? Obviously, defensively, you got the Deanne Allen. They got some other playmakers too. So this team is in a good position in a division that is kind of up for grabs now, right? We look at the Ben says, "Hey now, Bruce Arians is the original." Yeah, I mean he is. Bruce Arians has worked with a lot of good quarterbacks, but you cannot deny Doug Peterson's track record as well too. So maybe he's not the quarterback whisperer, but he's the second coming of a quarterback whisperer. Okay, but in regards to the AFC South, the Colts, they need a head coach, they need a quarterback, they need a lot of other couple things. That offensive line is not looking great anymore as it once was. About a season ago. Jonathan Taylor, kind of injury plague now. So we don't know what's going on with them, right? Receiving core, okay, right? Michael Pittman Jr. is their guy, but really outside of him, really they don't have anything. You look at the Tennessee Titans. This team they had a window. Excuse me. They had a window, but now you have an aging quarterback, a running back that has high volume. I mean, the guy, Derrick Henry, who touches the ball a lot, right? He takes a beating every week in and week out. He does give a beating too, but still, right? You have a defense that really doesn't have a great pass rush. They have some old pieces, and this division right now, I don't know. The Jags could be the kings of this division. Now, the NFL is it's hot and cold, right? You have a team that went from last to first. It can happen. It can happen. I mean, case in point, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, look at what they're doing. Look exactly at what they're doing. And so, therefore, you have to take that into consideration. But congratulations to them. They go out and beat the Tennessee Titans. And Ben also adds, he says, Trayvon Walker had a great game last week for the Jags last night. Okay. Right. No, he did. They had some really big plays. And I know Joshua Dobbs, he lost the game, but shout out to him, man. I mean, they could have won that game. It was just some really great defensive plays made by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, simply put it like that. But Joshua Dobbs, I mean, literally, this guy was drafted 6 seasons ago. Got his first start last week against the Dallas Cowboys, played fairly well, right? I don't think they probably were going to win that game, but still, right? Kept the minute, goes on the road in a playoff type situation, and they almost pull out that win. So the Titans are well coached, but I don't know if they have enough. They don't have any wide receivers to think of, right? They drafted a kid. I forgot where he was drafted out of. Arkansas, I believe. Trey Burke, I think his name is. Is he a true number one? Probably not. That offense revolves around Derrick Henry. But so don't be surprised that the Jags go on a little run to take over this division, or at least be in the talks, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen with the Colts. The Titans will, I wouldn't say reload. They are what they are. They'll always be in the mix, I think, for probably about another year or so. And then after that, you got to start looking at Derrick Henry, his health, his capabilities, and then et cetera, et cetera. So, but again, congratulations to the AFC South division champions of 2022, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were in the playoffs, and we'll talk about their playoff picture here in just a moment. Okay, so next, what I want to talk about. First, let's take a look at it really quick here. Let me get that clip up ready for you guys here. So, because this to me, this is just comedy, and I'm talking about the Raiders, and I'm gonna get into them just a little bit because I feel like there's some things that I've seen on social media, across the internet, and I want to talk about that. So let's get this clip ready to roll. Here we go. The disrespect. I mean, it's crazy. The level of disrespect. I mean, we all saw this yesterday, and they came out in some type of like a youth formation, like, and they scored, and they scored. That's the crazy thing about it, bro, is that they scored, and to me, the Kansas City Chiefs, man, they were just straight clowning. Now, why I'm talking about the Raiders today is because, number one, they disrespected Derek Carr. Now, I've been on record a couple weeks now, especially after they announced that Jason Stidham was going to be the starting quarterback, and for the most part, they're going to move off from Derek Carr. Okay. And then all last week, all the hate that Derek Carr gets, and then even last night, I've seen people burn their Derek Carr jerseys, take down posters, yada, yada, yada. Raider fans, you guys are ridiculous. You guys are idiotic. You guys don't make any sense. Now, they were in there last week. They almost beat the Niners right now. Oh, my God, Jason Stidham, he's so much better than Derek Carr. You still lost the football game, guys. You still lost. Right? The point is to win the game, right? And then you come out yesterday afternoon and get blown out 31-13, and then you lose. I mean, come on. The ring around the Rosie's pocket full of posies play? Come on, man. That's a National Football team, a National Football League team that did that to you. Grown-ass men. And you guys lose like that? You guys, and then, oh, Derek Carr, he's the biggest problem, and yada, yada. The Raiders got a couple problems. Number one, your owner really he's a typical kid that took over for their daddy. Simple as that, right? They made the move to Las Vegas from a financial standpoint. Great, that's cool. Great for the city that I live in. I don't really care because I'm a Cowboys fan, obviously. It makes no difference to me. You hired John Gruden, which I thought was a terrible hire from the jump, okay? And then you gave him a 10-year contract. How stupid is that? You gave a guy a 10-year contract who hadn't won nothing. Oh, well, Ron, he won a Super Bowl. Dude, that was like 20 years ago, damn near, okay? And then after he won that Super Bowl, what happened to his teams after that? Losing records. And then you want to come back and give this guy a 10-year contract. How idiotic is that, right? Because, and this happens a lot with a lot of our great American sports teams. They try to recreate the good old days, right? By bringing back former guys from an era, right? You see that with the Lakers, especially right now, right? They hired like Byron Scott a couple of years. They had Luke Walton there for a year, right? For a cup of coffee, right? Before they, it's very weird, right? And then they try to do that, and then they hire Mike Mayock. Now, granted, I think Mike Mayock was great on TV. I mean, he's superb on TV for sure. But then you look at their draft class, man. You look at that 2020 or 2021 draft class. None of those guys are even on the team. What a wasted draft class. But it's Derek Carr's fault. Right? You had a shitty O-line, a shitty defense, no weapons. And they finally go out and get Devontae Adams, which that connection was great, right? But it didn't result in wins, right? Because you blew double-digit leads this year. That's not Derek Carr's fault. Now, he's not perfect. Okay, Raider Nation, I understand that. He's not perfect. But realistically, he was the best thing you guys had. He's the best thing to me, Derek Carr is like when you're hungry. If you ever been broke at some point in your life and you go to your pantry or you go to the refrigerator, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got no steaks, you ain't got no lamb, you ain't got no lobster, you ain't got nothing. But you got some top ramen or oodles and noodles for the people from the hood, right? It ain't the best, but it'll sustain you. And that's what Derek Carr was. He was oodles and noodles, aka top ramen. That's what he was to you guys. Now I'm glad for him. He's going to get up out of there because the Raider fans don't deserve a Derek Carr, right? They don't deserve a Derek Carr. So you look at the coaching changes, the scheme changes, the inept of the senior leadership to draft quality players, right? How is that Derek Carr's fault? That doesn't make him the loser. If anything, he's a stabilizing force in that organization. Now I get it. He's catching flack because he he decided to part ways or stay away from the team the last 2 weeks to not be a distraction. But I mean, realistically, you still lost your last two with another quarterback. So it ain't the quarterback's fault all the time. You know, he can't tackle, right? He can't break up a pass. He can't force a fumble. He can't pick off a ball, right? He can't block for himself. Now they got some guys, right? You look at their wide receiver core with Devontae Adams, one of the, if not one of the best receivers in the National Football League, probably him and Justin Jefferson, right? Hunter Renfrow, a premier slot receiver, right? If they decide to franchise tag Josh Jacobs, you have a good back. You have Colton Miller at left tackle. So and the line is okay. I think it could get better. Excuse me. But it ain't all Derek Carr, and that's what I don't understand. People, you have a lot of people that watch football that don't watch football, and they want to come on social media and they want to talk shit, and they don't understand a damn thing of what's happening. Right? It's 11 men on the field, man, and they all got to do their job. If one guy isn't doing their job, it affects. It doesn't just affect them, right? It affects the whole scheme of things. And that's exactly what the Raiders are. So if you're an idiot and you're burning your Derek Carr jersey, you're retarded, straight up. I mean, you spent hundreds of dollars on a jersey, and rightfully so. You can burn it if you want to, but trust me, man. If the Dallas Cowboys got rid of Dak Prescott today, I'm not burning that jersey. I'll just keep it. Would I wear it? Probably not. But I spent money on that. Why the hell would I burn that? You might as well just give me $100. If you want to burn it, that's stupid. But again, this is where we are. We have a lot of clout chasers online doing stupid things to get likes and views and followers. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it real. And Raider Nation, I'm keeping it real with you guys. That you guys to me are one of the worst fan bases, right? Now, I know some Raider fans, and some of them are really good, and they understand the concept of things. And I'm not saying Dallas Cowboy fans are any better, because they do hate on Dak Prescott a lot too. But come on. He is not the problem. Derek Carr is not the problem. Again, now you guys are going to find out. So what's next? Oh, well, Tom Brady. Well, does Tom Brady want to come to the AFC? Does he want to compete with Patrick Mahomes? And God, I'm drawing a blank. The kid out of San Diego, not San Diego, the Chargers. How did I forget this kid's name? Somebody help me out. Why did I forget this guy's name? And I know him. I forgot his name. I don't know what the hell happened to me, but I forgot his name. I just drew a blank. Tom Brady, I mean, he doesn't want to come to AFC West. We don't know what's going to happen with the Denver Broncos, right? So is it something he wants to do? Now he does have some familiarity with Josh McDaniels, but Josh McDaniels' game management, not the best, right? At least as a head coach, right? Offensive line it's okay. Like I said, I did mention Colton Miller, the left tackle. He's a stud, all pro. What do they do with Darren Waller? He is a shell of himself. He rather rap. Justin Herbert, that's the name of the guy. Yeah, Justin Herbert, right. Does Tom Brady want to deal with those guys twice a year? Where he's right now in the NFC South, where who are you dealing with? Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton, Desmond Ridder twice a year? That might be a better fit, but does he want to stay in Tampa because he does, he's made inferences about like them not being buttoned up, and to me, Todd Bowles to me is not a great head coach. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he just needs to stick to being a coordinator at this point. And I know they've had injuries, and they're kind of like riding a hot streak right now. But overall, this team. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. But for sure, the Raiders need to get your head up out your asses, and Derek Carr is not the problem. He just isn't. So I'll leave it at that. All right, moving on. Power rankings going into the last week. We got the Bengals still at number 1, right? I mean, considering what happened to them Monday night, they didn't play, so I'll pretty much, I kind of kept the top 5 the same for the most part. Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Offensively, creativity, man. They're one of the best creative teams in the league for sure. Can't deny that. Philadelphia Eagles, they could drop, man. We don't know what the status is on. I know they're 2 touchdown favorites today against the Giants, and they just need to win to wrap up the number 1 seed in the NFC. But Jalen Hurts still dealing with that shoulder injury, but they're still very explosive. They're very potent offense. Defensively, they're missing some guys on the front seven, and Lane Johnson's out too. So I was being gracious. I let them at third, but we'll see what happens. San Francisco 49ers getting hot, but Brock Purdy, we'll see, man. It's gonna be tough in the playoffs. Now he's doing a great job, but he is a product of great coaching. Kyle Shanahan's giving this guy everything he needs, and Debo's coming back today, I believe, right? So we'll see. But in the playoffs, that's when your quarterback needs to be on point. So we'll see what happens with them. But I kept them at 4. Buffalo Bills, leave them where they are at 5. I like this team, but then I don't like them. Josh Allen does have a propensity of throwing or doing something late in the game that can alter the outcome. So he's been known to do that, and they heavily rely on him. So everything that they do offensively, obviously it starts with the quarterback because he's got to snap the ball, but literally he's got to be on point to make things go there. So we'll see. Dallas Cowboys, offensively, I think they can match any one of those 5 teams in the top 5 for sure. Averaging over 35 points a game or close to that. They're rolling right now. But defensively, what happened to this team? They are a shell of themselves early on in this year. Don't know. Michael Parsons, got a club on his hand last week. Didn't know where the hell that came from. But defensively, they are not getting it done. I know they've got some injuries back in the secondary. I know they signed Xavier Rhodes to the practice squad. Not sure if he'll be activated today to get in the mix against the Commanders. They're on the road. But if this defense can get back to the form that they were earlier in the year when Dak was out, well, this team can beat all these other top 5 teams for sure because they were getting after the quarterback. And how do you stop a great quarterback? You get after them. And right now, they're not getting after much of anybody. Couldn't even get after Joshua Dobbs last week and the week before. So I'm kind of concerned with them. So I have them at 6. Now, Aaron Rodgers at 7 in the Green Bay Packers, they have found their identity. I don't know what the hell LaFleur was thinking the whole year. What they're doing now is what I thought they should have been doing from day one. That's why I had them winning the division, because I still don't believe in the Vikings, and I'll get to them, right? They're running the football with Aaron Jones and Dillon, and now Christian Watson has kind of come on. Aaron Rodgers feeling a little bit more comfortable. Defense is playing really good. But why did they not do this in the beginning of the year? Why were they trying to force these rookies or younger wide receivers to play at a Devontae Adams level? You don't just replace Devontae Adams, right? Just like that. You got to moneyball it a little bit, right? You got to get a couple guys that can do a couple things that can replace his production. But you have really 2 good running backs and a great offensive line that's only going to get better, right? So the Packers are going to be, it's going to be an interesting situation for them at the end of the season, depending how it finishes, right? I know Aaron Rodgers is always like, well, I want to stay, but I'm leaving. God knows what's happening with him, right? Who knows? What do you do? But they're trending up. I like what the Packers are doing, and they can go. I don't know how they play on the road. Obviously, they'll be a road team. They're not going to win. They didn't win their division, so they're going to be on the road through the duration of the playoffs. Okay, so we'll see. LA Chargers playing really well. I'm still waiting for Brandon Staley to F it up. It's not like I really want him to F it up, but I don't trust the guy. So when he gets into one of these close situations in these playoff games, because they've clinched a spot, right? They're going to make the playoffs. But I don't know. I don't trust the guy. I really don't trust the guy, so we'll have to wait and see with them. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars, congratulations. They win the AFC South. They're playing really well. Trevor Lawrence is having a phenomenal season. We'll see what happens with them. And then finally, the Minnesota Vikings, a 12-13 win team who no one has any faith in at all. And if you're a Vikings fan, you should probably feel the same way. You guys have pretty much survived like 8 or 9 games where you probably should have lost. And so you kind of have this false sense that, oh, we're really good, but you're really not, because a lot of those games you probably should have lost, right? Probably should have lost this division. And the Packers showed you why you should have lost the division. If the Packers were doing what they were needed to do in the beginning of the season, this would have never happened. So I expect the Vikings to be one and done in the first round of the playoffs. So that's it. Those are my power rankings for the regular season, and we'll move on and leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section Um, let's keep it rolling. All right, predictions. We got Texans taking on the Colts. Who cares, really? But I'll take the Texans. Vikings taking on the Bears. Again, Chicago on at home. I think this will be a close game. The Vikings have really nothing to play for at this point, really. But I'm still going to take the Vikings. Well, you know what? I take that back. I'll take the Bears to win. Not. I take the. I'm going to flip it. Justin Fields isn't playing, so I'll go with the Vikings. If Justin Fields is playing, I would probably take the Bears just because he'll run around, make a play here or there, and and get the win. All right, Baltimore Ravens taking on the Bengals. First, they're back on the field in the same stadium that the incident occurred on Monday night. So this is a do or die for the Ravens. The Bengals really, they can't improve their. I guess they can try to hold the second. Are they the second seed now? I have to look at my playoff picture. But for sure, the Ravens is in a do or die situation, so they got to win. No Lamar Jackson, he's out again, didn't practice. He's probably going to shut it down the rest of the season if I'm him. If I was him, I would. They haven't paid you. They haven't talked about it. Why go out there and perform? Simple as that. But in this do or die situation, you know what? I still think I'll take the Bengals at home. I'll take the Bengals at home. Jets and Dolphins. Jets officially eliminated from the playoffs last week. Dolphins still trying to clinch that last spot. They still need some help. Obviously, no Tua. Don't know what's going on with Teddy Bridgewater. Is Skylar Thompson getting the start? I'm going to take the Jets to win this game. I think they want to finish on a positive note, even though they just missed out on the playoffs. Man, they haven't made the playoffs since 2010. Long drought for my Jet fans out there, but I'll take the Jets to win. Carolina on the road taking on New Orleans. New Orleans, they had a nice win against the Eagles last week, right? On the road, I think they'll come back home and they'll wrap up this season and get the win against the Carolina Panthers, who have nothing to play for as well. They've been eliminated from the playoffs after their loss last week to Tampa Bay. So I'll take the Saints. Patriots looking to make that. They're also vying to looking to make that last playoff spot in the AFC. They're taking on the Bills, who are at home. I think they're going to get lots of love from their fan base. Of course, I think that's going to uplift them and carry them. I'm not sure if they have much to play for either at this point. Let me know. But I'm going to take the Bills just because I don't think they want to lose their first game back after the DeMar Hamlin situation. So I'll take the Bills to win that game. Then we have the Buccaneers taking on the Falcons. The Buccaneers essentially clinched the NFC South last week for sure. So I don't think their position can move any else either. The Falcons still, they're still looking, man. Like this team for the last couple of years have been a very scrappy team. They just don't have the clutch pieces yet to be a contender, a serious contender. But I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Tom Brady's going to play, I think. So, and if he's in the game, he's looking to win. Simple as that. All right, got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do or die for the Steelers. They got to win. And a couple things. They got to win to get in, right? And they need some help. But to also, they need to win to give Mike Tomlin another winning season. He has not had a losing season in the National Football League as a head coach. Think about that, right? He's completely underrated as a head coach. So I'm pulling for the Steelers. I probably shouldn't. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm pulling for the Steelers to win this game and take out the Cleveland Browns, who really don't have an idea of who they are anymore. It's weird. This team was hot, man. They were the hot topic. I mean, you had Baker Mayfield. They had all this tremendous roster. You get Deshaun Watson. Granted, he missed half of the season. He's coming back, but this team really doesn't. They've lost a lot of their luster, I would say. And I think they're looking to just kind of get out of the season and close this 2022 campaign out. But I'll take the Steelers to win that game to try to keep their playoff hopes alive. LA Rams versus Seattle Seahawks. A game in which it's more important to the Seahawks, the Rams, anyone who could care less. I'll take the Seahawks at home. They'll be more motivated. And they have to win because they won't know their outcome until later on Sunday Night Football after the Lions and the Packers take place. So they have to win. And the Rams, to me, what a dumpster fire. They went all in for the Super Bowl and they got it, and now they're going to be reaping what they sowed. Financially, they're not going to be able to keep a lot of these guys here in the future. and we'll see. And so what's going to happen with them? But I'll definitely take the Seahawks to try to stay in that playoff picture. Chargers taking on the Broncos. I don't know. Broncos been playing pretty well as of late. At least Russell Wilson. The Chargers really don't have much to play for, I would say. I'm going to go on a limb and take the Broncos today, just to show some Russell Wilson a little bit of love, because he's getting a lot of hate, rightfully so, right? He had a crappy year. I think he just wants to finish it out. But I'll take the Broncos at home because I feel like the Chargers really don't have much to play for at this point. And they might rest a couple guys just to get ready for next week. And we'll go from there. But I'll take the Broncos. Giants versus the Eagles. I'm hoping the Giants can pull off the miracle and win this game. Now they're 14-point underdogs. 14-point underdogs. Brian Dable has said that he's not resting guys. So we'll see how long that lasts. We'll see. But my gut's telling me go with the Eagles because they do have to play for something, right? And so if they can win this game, get a bye, possibly give Jalen Hurts another week to heal, that would be in their best benefit. So I think they're going to go balls to the wall to win this game, to get that bye so they can get their quarterback back a little bit more healthier, and maybe some of those guys on the defensive front too. So I'll take the Eagles, but I'm hoping for the Giants to win. I'm just hoping. All right, Cardinals taking on the Niners. Deebo Samuel is slated to make his return today, I believe. Cardinals really have nothing to play for as well. This is another team in a weird situation. There are reports that they are going to move off their long tenured general manager. I forgot his first name, but his last name is Kime. So he's dealing with some personal issues. A couple years ago he got arrested on a DUI and some other things that are going on. But I know him and the owner are really close, so this might be a hard breakup for both guys. They had a little bit of success, right? But Kyler Murray giving him the money. Look what happened to him. What's going to happen to this team? This is probably Cliff Kingsbury's his last head coaching job in the National Football League, I would say. I don't think he's a guy that is going to be a retread. I think this might be it for him. He'll probably move back to the college ranks where he probably belongs at the end of the day, right? But I'll take the Niners to win this game. Brock Purdy's playing all right. Had a really nice, solid win last week against the Raiders to come back and win in overtime. All right, Dallas Cowboys taking on the Washington Commanders. What a dumpster fire. Ron Rivera had this team playing really well. They decided to go with Carson Wentz. Why the hell would you do that? Carson Wentz is a bum. Now, I get it. You were losing games with Taylor Heineke, but I felt like he still gave you a better shot. And then the fact that he didn't even know that they were eliminated out of the playoff contention with that loss last week. So that's kind of a bumble right there. You got to know that as the head coach, man. Come on. But Sam Howell and Taylor Heineke will get kind of some starts today. I'm hoping for the Cowboys to kind of get back on their defensive prowess. And so they need to win this game too if they wanted to claim that top seed or at least win the division and get, a home playoff game, right? So we'll see what comes for that. But I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game today over the Washington Commanders in a 2-quarterback system. And finally, Detroit Lions taking on one of the hottest teams in the National Football League, the Green Bay Packers. The Lions they don't play defense very well. They can score, but it's going to be cold. Sunday night, Green Bay, eyes are watching. Dan Campbell has saved his job. They went on like a 6-7 game win streak, so he did save his job. He'll be back next year. They do show some promise. They show some fight. I will say that all year long, they don't get punked like that. So that's a reflection of their head coach. I'm still not sold on him as an X's and O's guy, but I think he's a great motivator, and I think that's what's helped this team so far. Jared Goff not having a bad season, right? But he's better at home than he is on the road. And the Packers, they're playing for something, obviously. These two teams are playing to get in, right? So I'm hoping it'll be a good game, but I'm going to take the Packers to win this game and claim that last playoff spot in the NFC wildcard. All right, clutch picks of the week. This is the last one. I won't do anything in the playoffs. So right now, last week I went 3-0, right? So it improved me to 31-26. So, I mean, I cannot. At least I'll finish up above 500 this year, which is good, which is really good for me. So I'll take the Cowboys, Steelers, Saints, and Texans to win today. Hopefully I can get the first 4-0 of the season. I've been close a couple times, 3-1, but those are the picks. And just real quick before we close out here, so let's take a look at the actual playoff picture, right? Let's see here. So as of right now, this is what it looks like. Now some things can change in regards to the NFC side of things. We've got the Chiefs. Obviously, they with that win yesterday against the Raiders, they've claimed the number 1 spot. Simple as that. Now, right now, the Bills are at number 2. Right, Bills are at number 2. They would be taking on the New England Patriots. If the Patriots were to make it, that can still change, obviously, because you still got teams like the Dolphins, Steelers, that are still kind of hanging on in there real quick. Then the 3-6 game would be the Ravens against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, again, 2 divisional rivals going at it. The Chargers would be traveling to Duval County to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. That would be an interesting game. 2 young quarterbacks dueling it out, right? So that's what the picture kind of looks like right now in regards to the AFC. We look on the NFC. If everything holds pat, if the Eagles take care of business today, they will be the number 1 seed team. They would get that first round bye. Then we have the Niners in the 2nd seed taking on either the Seahawks or the Packers or even the Lions, right? Okay. But then we have the Giants going back on the road to Minnesota, and a game that they probably should have won a couple weeks ago. They were in that game, so I'd be interested. I would not be surprised if the Giants win into Minnesota and beat them, right? But that's where we're at right now. The Vikings are locked in there, and then obviously you would have the Cowboys going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If the Eagles win, then this is what would it look like for the most part. Now, some things can be kind of changed around. If the Eagles lose, Cowboys win, then the Cowboys will win the division. They'll get a home playoff game, and I believe they would move to the 2nd seed. Niners would move up to 1, and the Eagles would drop down and have to go on the road. How ironic is that? How bizarre is that, actually? So that's what it looks like right now. So there's a lot to be played for today, especially coming from the NFC side of things. So you guys stay locked in, man. This is a big day. This is definitely a big day. So we'll keep it moving. So, all right. That's all I got, man. That's all I got. So, hey, listen up. We'll see what happens. I'll have some reaction video coming out sometime beginning of this week. Kind of a new segment that I'm kind of introducing. I kind of did it late. It started with the Damar Hamlin, but it's called What We Learned. So we'll be breaking down what happened this Sunday, what we learned. So other than that, make sure if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go to Clutch Sports Talk on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. It'll let you know when I go live. Also, check me out on The Grid. Subscribe to The Grid as well. Other than that, man, I hope you guys enjoy your final regular season week in the National Football League. So Week 18 will conclude tonight, and I hope you guys enjoy. And if your team didn't make the playoffs, sorry, sucks to be you. But if your team is one of those teams still in there, you're still in the fight. You still got a chance. So other than that, enjoy yourselves, guys. Have a great day. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Like I always say, never settle till the work is done. Peace out.